Chapter 5. The Vizier's Return at Work. Joseph sat behind the grand stone desk, his fingers pressing against his temples as the day's reports piled before him. The past 70 days had been devoted to mourning his father, and though the rituals had honored Israel's legacy, Egypt had not paused. The robes felt heavier today. He was not just Egypt's steward. He was a son walking forward without a father. Outside his chambers, officials moved in and out, each waiting for their turn to speak with him. Petitions, trade disputes, and land allocations. The wheels of the kingdom had kept turning in his absence, but they had done so with the quiet expectation that order would be restored upon his return. The first matter before him was a dispute between merchants over grain shipments that had been delayed by the extended mourning period. One accused the other of hoarding and demanded restitution. Joseph listened carefully, his gaze sharp but impartial. Neither of you has suffered losses that cannot be explained. The granaries remained open, and rations were distributed fairly. No man will take more than what was given. The shipment will be divided as originally intended. The two men bowed in agreement, knowing that Joseph's judgments were swift, fair, and final. Another official stepped forward, bringing news from the Nile Delta. There had been unusual flooding, which had affected certain farming regions, and villages were requesting extra supplies. Joseph nodded, already calculating the redistribution. We will send reserves from the lower granaries, ensuring that those affected receive their due without compromising our long-term stores. It continued this way, one matter after another, each requiring his attention. Although Pharaoh had the final say over all of Egypt, it was Joseph who ensured the kingdom functioned effectively. And now, he had more than just Egypt's affairs to consider. He had a caravan to lead back to Canaan. Strategizing for the journey. After the last official left, Joseph turned to the head of security, a grizzled man named Amanacht, who had served in the palace since before Joseph's rise. We must travel lightly, Joseph said. We cannot afford to draw unnecessary attention, but we also cannot remain unprotected. Amanacht stroked his chin. If you want discretion, I suggest a unit of 6 men, trained in stealth. Soldiers are useful, but too many will draw eyes. Joseph nodded. Agreed. We need men who know the terrain, not just how to fight. I have the right men in mind, Amanacht bowed. They will be ready when you depart. Joseph didn't voice his suspicions aloud, but he knew eyes watched him from within Egypt and beyond its borders. Joseph exhaled, grateful for the man's efficiency. The journey would be long and dangerous, but at least now he had trusted warriors to ensure his father's remains arrived safely in Canaan. Dinner with Pharaoh. That night, Joseph and Asenath entered Pharaoh's palace for a private dinner. The halls, lit by golden oil lamps, glowed against the polished limestone walls. Servants rushed about, bringing trays of fruit, roasted meats, and fresh bread. Pharaoh sat upon his cushioned seat, watching as Joseph approached. The ruler's face was alight with warmth. Ah, Zaphanath Paneah, Pharaoh greeted him, using Joseph's Egyptian name. I have waited these long days for your return to my table. Joseph smiled and bowed. The honor is mine, my lord. Pharaoh's eyes twinkled as he gestured for them to sit. Come, eat. Let us speak not as king and vizier, but as men. Joseph took his seat beside Asenath, and as the meal began, Pharaoh leaned in slightly. Tell me, my friend, how fares your family? I know you have mourned greatly, and I honor your devotion. Joseph met his gaze, the honesty of Pharaoh's words touching him. My heart is at peace, my lord. My father was given honor beyond what he could have imagined. And my brothers, we are no longer divided." Pharaoh smiled. "That is good. I have long admired how you deal with your people. Never have I seen a man rise so high and yet remain without greed or deceit." He lifted his cup. "No one has ever come before me with complaints about you. No bribes, no favoritism. You treat both the rich and the poor with the same wisdom." He leaned back slightly, swirling his wine. "Strong families make for strong nations," Pharaoh mused. "I trust your household is united." Joseph dipped his head. "It is Elohim who gives wisdom. I only follow the path he sets before me." Pharaoh chuckled. "Ah, your Hebrew God. If only our priests had such humility." Asenath placed a gentle hand on Joseph's arm, and he turned to her. She had been observing Pharaoh, taking note of the depth of his affection for Joseph. "This is why Egypt prospers," Pharaoh continued. "You have made this nation strong, and I will not forget it." Joseph nodded in gratitude. Then Pharaoh leaned back, his expression shifting slightly. "And your journey to Canaan, what do you require?" Joseph straightened. "I have already secured a small unit to travel with us. My brothers, Judah and Zebulun, have gone ahead to prepare the way. I will ensure everything is done efficiently." Pharaoh nodded approvingly. "Take what you need, my friend. Egypt will not deny you." Pharaoh studied him a moment longer, his tone softening. "One day my son will sit on this throne. When that day comes, I hope you will still be at his side." Joseph bowed his head slightly, honored but silent. The request was more than ceremonial. It was a promise and a burden. Judah and Zebulun prepare the way. While Joseph dined with Pharaoh, Judah and Zebulun moved swiftly, heading toward Canaan. They had taken only a handful of men, knowing that speed and discretion were more valuable than a show of force. Their task was straightforward: to ensure safe passage for Israel's body and to establish a plan before the entire caravan arrived. They traveled through Hebron first, where their father had requested to be buried in the cave of Machpelah. There, they met with local elders who still remembered Jacob's name. One of them, an older man named Abdiel, greeted them with respect. "Sons of Israel, what brings you?" Judah spoke first. "Our father, Jacob, passed in Egypt. We are returning with his body to be buried here, as he wished." Abdiel's eyes darkened in understanding. "He was a great man. His name is still honored among those who live here." Zebulun stepped forward. "We must know the state of the land. Who among the people will stand with us, and who might stand against us?" Abdiel nodded grimly. "The land has changed since your father left. Some still honor the covenant made with Abraham. Others have forgotten." Zebulun's hand instinctively drifted toward the hilt of his blade, though he did not draw it. Judah's jaw clenched. "Then we will remind them." They spent the night gathering intelligence, speaking with clan leaders and merchants who still owed allegiance to their father. By the time dawn broke, Judah and Zebulun had secured their first allies. While they are away. Back in Egypt, Joseph and Asenath returned home after the feast. Light from wine, warmth from Pharaoh's favor. Joseph let the peace settle in, rare and welcome. Asenath watched as he unfastened his robe, then came to sit beside him on the bed. "You are quiet," she murmured. Joseph turned to her, a slow smile creeping onto his lips. "I am at peace." She tilted her head. Drunk? He chuckled. A little. She leaned into him, and he pulled her close, whispering quiet prayers of gratitude to Elohim. Asenath closed her eyes, listening to the gentle rhythm of his breathing, and sleep overtook them in a cradle of safety.
You've been listening to the Moses Chronicles Prelude, narrated by M. McIntosh. To explore the full audiobook, purchase it in digital or printed form, or discover companion writings, visit moseschronicles.com. For more sacred fiction, subscribe and journey with us through promises, exile, and deliverance. New chapters are released weekly. Until then, may the quiet still speak.